drawing some CyberPunk cable stuff. Oof. Give it a few seconds. I need to take care of a couple stuff. I'm gonna start drawing. Basically, stuff for animation. This is gonna be things that I'm gonna use for animation. And basically, this is like some kind of dome thing, and right here is going to be a monitor, like a computer monitor screen, but this is actually going to be transparent. And the reason for that is that this is going to be like an overlay that editors and DJs and music video creators can overlay this on top of their stuff. So I'm just kind of vibing out some kind of pipes, cyberpunk style pipes. Just getting the basic tubular shapes in. I'm not really sure what this is, but it's just some unnecessary structure to hold a monitor. Like, I don't really understand why this structure would exist. But that tends to be a thing with cyberpunk dystopian things, is all the technology is very extra and it just looks cool. Kind of like things are all high-tech and advanced, yet also extremely inefficient. Like, if you look at the heating and cooling systems of cyberpunk cities, there's so many different pipes and pieces. Seems like they would have figured out a better way to construct things. The thing with these pipes is it's just like cylinders, and then you kind of feel the 3D form around it and draw some smaller circles inside, and that helps it to look kind of cool. But before I keep going on this one, I'm actually just gonna draw a pipe. So I was also having an idea of having like I'm messing up my words. I was having an idea of also doing like a pan of pipes and cables. So I made this really wide background here that I'm gonna just draw them really quick before I forget. I want to have like some kind of loop-de-loop type thing going here. Almost like a Sonic the Hedgehog loop, but upside down. I just really like curvy loop-de-loop things. And then I'll kind of go like this. And basically, I'm just gonna get this one pipe in and then build other things around it. But this is like the main idea, the main composition. I might even make this canvas wider eventually, but for now I'm just gonna get something rocking here. What's up? This is Chris. Thanks for dropping by. And yes, I'm wearing an old sock on my hand. An actual drawing glove is like, I don't know, $20 or something. I figured, hey, I'll just cut I'll just cut my sock and make a hole for my index finger and some more holes for these fingers and one hole for my thumb. And it works perfectly. And it helps you to not stick, especially when you're getting hot. Your hand doesn't stick all over the screen. And it's always worked well for me. Of course I wash it. I'm not, an animal. I do wash it, but that's a pro tip for other digital artists, is just find a spare sock and make a drawing glove out of it. So like, I'm just roughing this pipe thing in, but like, I can kind of imagine the interior lines kind of curving this direction, and then as it comes down, I'll have this line here start going in the opposite direction. So now this line is curving this way instead of this way. So like, this is a little section of this pipe now, and it might be a different color than the rest of the pipe. But I like to do this whenever the pipes bend real extreme, is make a little section, then maybe some metal around it holding it together. And like some little smaller lines in here. And then like you can have little not screws, or I guess they're screws, bolts or whatever. Yeah, like bolts, kind of ramshackle. If you want your pipes to be more ramshackle, have it to where like it looks like maybe there were damage on your pipe, so people had to come in and patch it with some patches here. And then another thing you can do if you want your pipes to look a little more lived in is draw some rust. So I'm just like sketching in some guidelines here for where I could make the coloration a little different, as if it has been weathered. Because something I've noticed about cyberpunk things like Blade Runner, or just cyberpunk in general, is it's not just futuristic, it's often a combination of growth and decay. So you'll have these super futuristic skyscrapers, but then at the bottom, like more like the slums, you'll have older failing technology, or just buildings that are falling apart. So it's like things are in a constant state of growth and decay. And that adds a certain tension to the world. But I'm just roughing this out. I'll go over it later with a better brush. And then like probably do like a grayscale type thing, because I don't think I'm gonna figure out the colors today. Sometimes I like to take a break from drawing before going into colors, because that's like a whole different part of your brain. Right now it's all about the shapes and the overall structure and flow of everything. And like sometimes, okay, so another thing I like to do to help show the pipes being less flat, to further make it feel a little more 3D, is draw a long line inside the pipe. So it's like a little baby pipe inside the pipe. Like this line here is just a smaller cable it's gonna be wrapping around. And already this helps give it a little more dimensionality. And the music, by the way, in the background is just a playlist of Sega Dreamcast songs. I love video game music when I'm drawing. It just puts me in a happy mood. Just kind of sculpting this pipe. Then this line here is behind here, so I'm just going to imagine it following through. And I kind of do this with my hand to mime it, like you're practicing the shape, but you're imagining it going behind, and it continues. And eventually, this middle line is either going to run into something else or twist around. But I think right about here is a good place to add another section of this pipe. So we'll draw a little curve shape here. And the smaller tube will go inside here. Then maybe some stuff here for more detail. I'm streaming on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. It's kind of hectic. Thanks everyone for watching. Zoom out a little bit, see the general thing. I'm gonna save. And today I'm drinking black tea. Call this one CyberPunk cable wide pan. It's gonna be panning. And draw some more cables around it. What's up, Angie K? Remember Cyberpunk being described as, you can't tell the difference between a human and a robot, but you can tell the difference between a rich man and a poor man. I just read Blade Runner, or Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is the Philip K. Dick novel that Blade Runner's based on. And it's quite a bit different from the movie. Probably the biggest difference is like Roy Batty, the main antagonist, I feel is a lot stronger and more easy to empathize with in the movie, whereas the pacing in the book is super weird and bizarre. Like, he doesn't show up till practically the very end of the book, so there's less of a focused central antagonist. But like a big theme of that book was how humans in this world that's been abandoned, all the like wealthier people have already moved to Mars, so Earth is just barely livable. But one of the things they do to try to show who is more well off is own animals. So everyone has like their pets on display on the rooftop so the neighbors can see. It's like a social status thing, like showing off your car, but instead it was like showing off your sheep or your cow or your horse. And the inhabitants of this world spend a ton of money buying electric fake animals because the Earth is so uninhabitable. Most of the animals in nature have completely died off. So like only like super well off people can actually have a real animal. So there's a lot of stress that people feel towards trying to convince everyone that their animals are real, even when they're fake. It's kind of funny but also sad. But like they'll buy like special food that looks real but it's fake to feed the fake animals. But like one of the themes of that book, of course, is that the androids are often more human than the humans, and that's been, yeah, it's kind of like also that iRobot and whatever, Isaac Asimov, all that stuff. It's quite enjoyable to draw kind of pipe stuff. I'd normally be super stressed out if I was trying to draw a human, because humans are hard. Okay. Something else about cyberpunk stuff is detail control. You want to have, even though cyberpunk is known for being hyper detailed, you still want to have resting spots and parts that aren't fully full of detail. So I'm just trying to keep that in mind with this pipe, is like this section here is getting more detailed, but I'm still gonna have some calmer sections as resting points. And I'm drawing this little connector thing here, so I'm gonna draw one here. Imagine this being some kind of something for this smaller pipe to connect to. I'm gonna look at it horizontally. Okay, so this is like the foreground pipe, and I'm gonna start thinking about things that could go behind it. So a skinnier pipe going behind it. And maybe this one can swoop around, start to coil and turn. I'm drawing digitally, but I just started drawing on physical paper. I busted out my Lightbox yesterday to do some animation, and I'm animating a little rainbowy cat creature that's gonna be flying in the sky. It's a really weird sensation to draw on paper again after drawing pretty much exclusively on my tablet for the past several years because my left hand wants to push the undo button, but there's nothing there. So when you make a mistake on paper, you can't just undo it. You have to actually live with it or use your eraser. And working in pen is especially unforgiving. But like drawing digitally, it's so much easier to just undo a mistake. Let's see here. I want it to go in front. I don't know, that might be too much to have it go in front there. I don't know, that could look kind of cool. Maybe I'll have it go in the front more around here. Let's see here. Okay, I can vibe with this. What's everyone working on? Okay, now it's gonna continue through and start to go over this bigger pipe. I'll go ahead and erase part of this. You can see it better. Whew. Oh yeah, yeah. All right. Now it's gonna go behind it again. And follow through up to the top. This is almost like a DNA strand of pipes. Something else I like to do with the pipes is add these little, they almost look like growths, but like little, I don't know what they would be called, not bolts, but like little things that pop out, these little metallic type things. I guess that other pipes would be connected into potentially. Guess I could maybe see what that looks like. Just making an amalgamation of pipes. It's like once I got this big pipe in, it's just a matter of adding other things around it to your taste to increase the complexity. Do you work full-time? I really struggle to make time to animate in my work week and it makes me sad. Yeah, I do animation full-time, but just freelance. So I don't work for any studio or company or anything. And there's pros and cons to every situation for sure. Something about having a more kind of like conventional job is you kind of know what you're doing. Like you generally have a boss that tells you what to do, so like, you know, that's what you're gonna do. But when you're completely self-employed, the added stress of it's not just okay, I have to work on art. There's like a second job of being the boss that has to literally find all the work and deal with the whole business side of stuff. And it can be kind of scary because there are definitely slower months. But basically what I do, my strategy is I have a Patreon and a shop, which are like, I don't like the term passive income, but it's like you make stuff and then you can sell it. It's not client work. So that's like half of it. And then the other half is doing client work, which is typically music videos or live visuals for bands. Sometimes, like, very infrequently, but a few times I've worked on some commercials, just doing like cleanup work. And yeah, that's basically my main bread and butter, but it's all related to animation. But I'm trying to get more self-sufficient in the sense of not having to do as much client work, because although working for people that have a budget can help pay the bills, it can also be emotionally draining. And yeah, it's just like finding that balance of making stuff that people will pay you for versus doing like your own true expression. It's a tricky balance, and yeah, I'm just still trying to figure that out. see here. Guess I could have this smaller pipe behind here. Going like this. I will say, if you find yourself having trouble balancing your regular job with your animation stuff, figure out time blocking. So it can be hard to manage your energy. So like, I mean, if you have more energy in the morning, you could try working for an hour or two before you even leave the house to do your job. And that way you're guaranteed to get 2 hours in every day on your animation work. Or you can prioritize the weekends and just hyper focus 10 hours on Saturday. Like, it'll all start to add up and build up over time. And like, if you want to get out of your job, just try building up different streams of income based off your animation until you've matched what you're earning on your normal job, and then you can safely quit. But I know that's easier said than done. Oh, my eyes are blurry. Probably gonna do like just a simple kind of cell shade style on this. One main highlight and then a shadow layer. horizontally. And I'm just kind of looking at this, how this pipe is very empty right now. I'm just gonna start filling in some little interior details where it curves around, where your eye is gonna be drawing to this curve here. So I'll add a little bit more information for your eye to pick up on. And sometimes I have to be careful, like I have this little bolt right here, flat, but sometimes you want the bolts to be on the outer edge. Like right here, have this bolt kind of on the silhouette so it has more 3D form to it. Like not all the features would just be flat on here. And where this is connecting here to this little connection, I'm gonna actually have the pipe just bulge out just so ever so slightly. That makes it feel like this section here is compressing it more. I'm drawing in Clip Studio Paint. Apparently you can animate in this program too. I haven't tried that yet though. really want to learn how to animate in Blender. There's so much you can do in there. Not just for hand-drawn 2D, but combining 3D with 2D. I want to do like low poly stuff. I'll give this a save. I don't like this part. I'm gonna go in grayscale and further define these sections with some flat colors, and then draw in some highlights. Once you add the highlights, then things are really gonna pop. I'm just adding 3 little bulging screw thingies here. I like doing patterns of 3. If you just find a simple shape and draw 3 of it, it has a nice little rhythm. Kind of like a story. You have the beginning, middle, and end. It's like here's the start, middle, end. Just has something has a cool rhythm. I don't know. Oh, my eyes are fuzzy. Okay. Let's add a few more details. I don't know if I want more pipes on here. This is an overlay, so I don't want it to have too much happening. Let's see here. Ooh, maybe this pipe can be connected to here. Let's think here. Okay, I think I have an idea, maybe. Hang on a second. Let's look at a wide screen. This is the whole thing here. I'll put my fancy goggles on. Wait, blue light glasses. Wait. I think I might get one more big pipe in the background. The thing is I don't want to ruin the silhouette of these other pipes. But it feels like I might need another thing right here. Be careful about tangents too. Make sure these lines are gonna line up nicely. I was animating cables, nothing with this many cables or details, but doing some animated loops of cables coming towards the screen or flying around like a snake. This is going to be part of this cable VJ pack. but this will be an overlay that'll pan across the screen that people can overlay onto other footage. It can be used in YouTube videos, social media, live streams, VJ sets, etc. Okay. You just have to imagine these lines following through behind. And curving back up. Another save. Hey man, what's up? Just wanted to say you were one of the people that inspired me to study animation back in 2017 and 2018. And now I'm working in a Oscar-winning studio in my country, so thank you. That was by the Fallopian Effect. I hope I pronounced that right. That is awesome. Wow, I'm so happy to hear that. I recognize that name. I definitely feel like I've interacted before. Can you tell me more about your project, or is it under wraps? Or what? Or is there anything else you've worked on that I might be able to find on YouTube? What's up, Gallo? Thanks for stopping by. I'm just drawing some cyberpunk style cables. And I'm just about ready to color these. I'm just gonna color it black and white for now, but I imagine the colors will be I don't know, probably like purples and grays. Yeah, we are working on the studio's first full-length movie. It's called Brave Cat. The first trailer launched last week. Awesome, I will check it out. Brave Cat. I love cats. That's really cool to hear though. It's like, yeah, it's amazing. Just gonna keep this background pipe more simple with the interior details. Okay, let's see here. General vibe of this contraption. Can always add a few more details later, but I think that's pretty good for an overlay. Alright, so I'm gonna make another layer. Better lock this one so I don't accidentally mess it up. And yeah. Let's get a flat, bigger brush. I could probably just use the one I was using and make it bigger. And see here. I'll make the background a little darker. Not completely dark, but not there. So. Alright, now I'm just gonna color in just a basic flat shape of this stuff and then separate the colors further. But basically just figuring out the value. I'm not gonna deal with the actual color yet. What's up, Sham Shroom TV? He says, are you still working on the Babel project you wanted to make? Still cooking? It's definitely in the oven. So yes, it was, for anyone listening, the Tower of Babel, the story in Genesis. It's basically that concept of like a tower being built, but instead of trying to reach heaven or God or the gods or anything like that, it's more like this tower that's constantly being built and falling apart, and it's kind of it's like these bird people that are building it. They're like bird creatures, and they just find all kinds of random stuff to put in it. But they've been building the tower for so long that no one knows why they're building it anymore. But it's like they have to build it because that's the they have to, and you get in trouble if you don't. But and then it's gonna be like a bunch of roller coaster type things and pipes and crazy weird looking surreal cyberpunky-ish stuff. I don't know. I have like visuals in my head, but the general story is just a theme, and then but like an actual straight up plot or fleshed out characters, I've just never gotten to that point yet. It's more just I have this mood piece, this idea of a vibe, and every time I've tried to write an outline or something, it's just super cringy, and it's normally kind of just whatever I was recently watching. like so like when I watched Mad Max Fury Road, I was like, well, maybe like the roller coasters on this tower, they break off and then they're all in this desert running away, and then they get pursued, and I was like, oh wait a second, this is literally just Mad Max. So but I still want to have some kind of like roller coaster type battle on this tower, with these roller coaster roads and these bird characters riding their vehicles going all around it. And yeah, I don't know. And it's like I don't know how to do dialogue, or if there's even going to be voice sync, because that's a whole other aspect of animation, the lip sync. But then it's like if it's just a silent film, there's concepts and stuff that I couldn't do if there's no words, because one of the themes is going to be Babel, like talking, communication, and how even when characters speak the same language, miscommunication still happens. So it's going to be about the imperfections of language. And then I want to show some stuff with like well, anyways, I don't know. Anyways, that's my long-winded way of saying, yeah, still want to make something like it, but as far as like actually figuring out how to do it, I'm in the very, very beginning stages. And there's the whole problem with funding. I might give Kickstarter a try, but I need to have a pilot first, like some actual finished animation to show proof of concept. You sound like the guy who voices Rocky from Lackadaisy. Cool. I can't remember which character that is, but I really liked the Lackadaisy. Yeah, it was amazing. They just released a 5-minute short. But yeah, it's like really impressive animation, and character acting feels natural. And I liked that Fox in Space as well. Really good character dynamics. It feels like a lived-in world. It feels like the characters, you believe that the characters have known each other their whole lives. Like immediately you feel like you're just part of the crew. Oops. Hang on, I need to think a second. So like the pipes in the foreground are either gonna be darker or lighter. Maybe they'll be lighter. I guess that makes sense. make this one darker. Wait a second. How do you explain the big success you are having recently on Twitter in terms of audience? That is a good question. I was never very active on Twitter. Kind of avoided like the plague. But I guess I've noticed that, so like my image posts don't do well, right? I get like a few likes usually. I've never had just an image or text or link post do well. But the animation posts tend to do well, especially if I don't put a link in it, or if I use like just one hashtag like 2D animation or animation. And I find that, yeah, like animation process posts get a lot of traction. So like people who follow animation, they might start reposting it. And it's kind of a gamble because like some of them will still only get a few dozen likes or something, but then occasionally one will really pop off. So I find that my success rate has increased drastically though by doing those things I just said, of like just little animated clips or animation process with like a one hashtag and usually no links. Sometimes if it has a link it's okay, but they don't want you visiting other platforms. So like putting links on social media tends to reduce your reach. But like every platform is different about their hashtags. I've noticed on TikTok, you don't want to put too many hashtags or it's going to get zero reach. So just put a few relevant hashtags, and you don't want to just use the same ones in every post, because then it'll start thinking it's spam. Whereas on Instagram, it seems like sometimes just add 30 hashtags and it'll do well, or just a few hashtags. And sometimes I've had posts with no hashtags do well because it just picked up in the algorithm. They just knew what to do with it. But in general, you definitely want to use hashtags on Instagram. But yeah, like on Twitter, I feel like if you add more than like just a couple hashtags, they don't like that. So I usually literally just add one hashtag, maybe two. And then on Facebook, I'm pretty sure hashtags don't even work. And on Threads, I think you can only put one hashtag. And I found that Threads is the most random, because sometimes they'll like give your post a ton of reach just because they're wanting people to go on their platform. Like on Instagram, I'll get people I don't even follow on Threads. Their stuff is showing up on my feed. But I think Instagram's desperate to keep people. My reels just got monetized finally on Instagram. I had one reel last year that got 1 million views. Unfortunately, I wasn't monetized, so that meant nothing in terms of like monetization. And then once I finally get monetized again, I'm getting like no views, and also the RPM is way less. So kind of weird luck, but I'm still grateful to have some kind of monetized thing on Instagram, I guess. I think I maybe shouldn't spend that much time getting these colors in. Probably deal with that more when I'm actually coloring it, but just to make this look cooler, I'm gonna add a highlight layer and maybe rest my eyes for a second because my eyes are getting fuzzy. Okay. Reduce the opacity. About 50. Okay. Just feeling the forms here. Highlight would be a little higher on this ridge. Put little highlights. And the highlight won't go all the way down. Just kind of break apart here. I need to look away for a second. My eyes are getting fuzzy. I'll be right back. Enjoy the whatever this music is. Boy. Sometimes I'll have the highlight get a little thicker when it comes down on a curve like this. And then the highlight will stretch out and get thinner as the pipe gets stretched out up here. So the highlights aren't all the exact same width. the highlights in the background a little darker. Give this thing some highlights down here so it pops out a little more. Okay, let's take a wide look at it. And that's pretty much where we're at. And I'm gonna do the background highlights. I'm gonna do another layer and make it a little bit less light. Maybe 20% opacity. Again, this is just the concept sketch. I'll go over it with fine line work and colors and shading on another pass. But I'm just getting in the look. I normally wouldn't draw these highlights rough. I'd just go straight into drawing the highlights as final line work right away. And I probably should be doing that, but it's okay. TikTok told me, congratulations, you've gone live for 90 minutes. Don't forget to take a break. Okay, let's look at this. All right. I think this might be close to done. Basically done for the concept sketch. Save it. Alright, well, thank you everyone for watching, and I guess I'm done now, so be sure to check out the other animation stuff on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.